Hi there. My name is Abel Beckford, and this is the latest episode of the One Problem podcast. We all know that there are tons of problems in the world. We're not going to focus on all the problems. We're going to deal with them one problem at a time. As most of my listeners know by now, most of the people who come on this podcast, I have a prior relationship with them. And that's the case with my guest today, Nicole Daines. She is another Elevate sister, and I've known her for about 2 years or so. Over to you, Nicole.
Great. Thank you for having me on to your podcast today, Abel. This is a wonderful opportunity for me. Today's problem, the one that I'm going to talk about today, is how do you navigate the emotional side of work? We're all doing our best at work. We try our hardest to get ahead, to do well, and maybe we have complex lives at work and at home, and it's natural for us to have emotions that pop up as we navigate our work. And so why not embrace some of those emotions and actually use them to our advantage? First, we're all human. You know, we're not robots, and the life would be pretty boring, I think, if we were. So first, I'd suggest doing the inner work to understand what lights you up at work and what might shut you down or trigger you at work. And the idea is to cultivate more of those moments of light and reduce the moments of stress or unhappiness, because we all do our best work when we're happy and feeling good. And so why not work on structuring our days around the things that bring us the most joy? I think we have more control over our work and how we structure our days than we might think we do. We might have a to-do list and other folks kind of asking us to do things, but we can also be doing things like scheduling time on our own calendars and making sure that we have the time that we need to be thoughtful about the work that we are proceeding with. So how do you do this? What are some ways to kind of figure out what might light you up? And so if you're in or shuts you down. So if you're kind of feeling an emotion, take a second, maybe after the meeting or after the interaction or whatever it winds up being, and saying, oh, wow, I'm really joyful right now. What about that did I really like? And are there ways I can bring more of that into my work? And then on the flip side, if we're feeling triggered about something, that's a really important point at which to examine that within ourselves. It's like, why are we feeling this way? Maybe I'm feeling a little bit of imposter syndrome for some reason. Why am I feeling that? And sometimes when we're motivated, we're go-getters, and we're trying new things, those feelings of imposter syndrome, it's natural for them to come up because we're not going to be 100% great at something new, and we shouldn't expect that of ourselves. But if you start to examine that within yourself, you can say, all right, well, why am I feeling this way? Oh, probably because I think I don't know something, or I think I'm not as good as someone else. And then that kind of puts you back into like solid footing or left brain mode, where you can start to say, all right, well, I understand now that I just don't feel like I know the material well enough. And then you can create an action plan around that. Do you need to know that? Or is it more that maybe this can be delegated to someone else, or maybe it's an opportunity to meet with someone else in the organization and form a bond and start to learn something together. So those are some of the things that I would suggest around navigating the emotional side of work. All set, over to you, Avel.
Thank you so much, Nicole. This was eye-opening. because it's important, but it's not something that most of us would think about. And that's a very proactive step. So thank you so much.
You're welcome.